So the go live is on Zoom, or are we live on Facebook Live?
You need a mic. Okay, it's plugged in.
We are live on Facebook.
All right, I can't see anything. Hi everybody, hold on one second. We'll be right with you. All right, what do we do here? I have like 10 people standing in the background just staring at me.
You should go down.
Fix it. Is it live?
Yes. Start talking. There you go. See, you're right there.
Good. And where's the Facebook? We'll be with you guys in a second. Hold on. Mick, you said you can sing. Why don't you sing us a little something while we get this going? See, he's on a delay. I need to see him live.
Oh, you gotta turn the volume down.
Live on Facebook Live.
Yeah, we're live right now, guys. I see us right now.
Let's go. I have to turn what volume down?
Turn the volume down on your computer.
Just do it.
Hey, RT, how's it going?
Have you met RT yet?
Yeah.
I did, yes.
Oh, very good.
Mm-hmm.
So now you should be.
We have looks like 3 people logged on with us right now.
All right, you ready to get started? Is this the first time we've done this?
Yeah. You want me to go ahead and get started?
Oh, she just gave me the finger, double fingers. All right, yeah, let's get started. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Finance Friday.
Man Show Friday again.
Man Show.
I guess we got such rave reviews last week that we were requested for an encore.
Yes, and I'm good with that actually. I had a lot of fun last week. Usually I hate doing these. I didn't mind it last week.
Yeah.
So it's a compliment to you, and hopefully not an insult to Amy. She'll probably be insulted.
Well, hey, we're going to have a lot of fun today. One of the cool things that came out of last week is we wanted to do something different this week. We went out Tuesday. We put out, a live asking you, our viewers, to give us feedback on topics that you wanted to talk about. And so we appreciate all the emails that we got and all of the feedback. It's a pretty good.
Hundreds of emails that we had to sift through.
Yeah, I would say 100.
I think we were just shy of 100.
Yeah. Well, and there were a couple of them that we looked at, but we finally decided on. We talk a lot about savings. It seems like it comes up every week: savings and budgeting, saving money. And we finally settled on the topic of, 6 old school strategies that, maybe you learned from your grandmother, maybe your mother taught you, but they still work today. So that's kind of what we decided on today.
Good. Yeah. And I think it's a good topic because when we get into specifics on investing, we kind of lose people. I think a lot of times, it'd be a lot more fun, I think, to talk stocks, but it's not very practical. A lot of people have somebody that does it for them anyway. So this is the 6 things that we'll go over today are things that you could implement at home.
Absolutely. And we talked about this maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago. Yeah, the stock questions are fun. The stock strategies are fun, but a lot of times if the foundation isn't set,
yeah.
I mean, if you haven't handled step 1 and 2, you don't want to jump all the way to step 4 and 5. So I think we want to just continue to hammer home the importance of having that foundation set savings, right? You can't take care of tomorrow and the day after that if today is not taken care of. And today is, let's make sure that we have the savings correct.
Good. All right. So today we're going to talk about 6 old-fashioned tips. And I threw in from grandma. I'm just going to call it 6 old-fashioned tips from grandma. Because number 1 definitely came from a grandma. There's no doubt about it. And the first tip is use the envelope budgeting system.
I love it. I first heard of this strategy probably about 10 years ago. I had a colleague at work, and this is a strategy that his wife used, and they were also using it to teach their kids. So, hey, I'm at home, so I was able to just draw up a few props. So it's real. It's like as basic as at the beginning of every week. And look, the strategy works better when you do it on a weekly basis than you do on a monthly basis.
Right.
But
I was able to just draw a few props. So it's real. It's like
is that me or you?
As at the beginning of every week.
Yes, I think that's on your side. Yeah.
Better when you do it
hold
on
on
a
one
weekly basis
second.
than you do on a monthly basis. But I was able to just draw a few props. So it's real. It's like is that me or you?
Sorry, guys, got a little bit of a technical glitch here. We'll jump right back on it. But while he's fixing that, I'll keep going. But it's an old school strategy. It works. And it really comes down to at the beginning of every week, you can set aside these few envelopes. You can put them on the counter in your kitchen. You can put them in your office. But at the beginning of every week, there's an envelope for groceries. There could be an envelope for, in my daughter's case, pizza. Or you can do one for, going out and eating at the restaurant. But the great thing about this is this gets back to budgeting. That's what we're talking about here. And the foundation of all of this, Jim, I see you're jumping back on.
Yeah, I'm back.
You hear me good? Okay. So basically we're talking about with the envelope system, what does it get back to? You and I, we said this last week. It seems like the most important point that comes out of this is the importance of setting a budget.
Right.
I mean, it was like the hot topic last week. It was the hot topic the week before that. It's the hot topic today.
It'll be the hot topic next week and the week after. It all starts with budgeting.
It does. Absolutely. Absolutely. Whether you make 400,000 or 40,000, if you can't stick to a budget, you will always be overspending.
Right. Good. Yeah, because if we're always taking care of, like I say sometimes to people when they say, I can't save long term, I just can't do it. I got too much junk in the short term. Something always comes up. So budgeting is critical. And if you could create a budget and you could take care of the long-term goals as well as the short-term goals.
Yeah.
You have to plan.
Exactly. Again, 40,000 or 400,000. If you're not sticking to a budget, you will always be in that scenario where you're going to have, more month than you have money. So again, if it keeps coming up over and over again, that means it must be important. And this is one of those things. So read my lips. You have to learn how to budget.
What movie was that from? Read my lips. What movie is that?
No, I remember on the political side, read my lips, no new taxes.
Oh, is that what that's from?
Oh yeah.
For some reason, I was thinking of Chris Tucker for some reason.
Yeah, Lena Boyle, hide your money under your mattress. That's an old-fashioned savings tip.
Well, that's true. That kind of leads into our next one.
Oh yeah. So the next one is, go cash only.
Yeah.
Right?
So
And go ahead.
cash only is not a bad idea because that's when we talked about this in the past where when you use a credit card, it just doesn't feel real. Like it's so funny. Like I know even when I take my 12-year-olds to the store and when we pay with cash, they look at it like, oh, wow, that's expensive. But when I use the card, they think nothing of it.
Yeah,
I real.
Yeah, I agree. And it's so easy, to be in a store and, you just whip out a card, whether it be a check card or a credit card, so easy, right? And a lot of times it's the small things, right? I mean, it could be the $1.05 stick of bubble gum, right? And you're in the store, you don't have any cash on you, you whip out your card, you pay for it on your card. You do that 10, 15, 20 times a week. Well, that $1.05, it adds up, it accumulates. Next thing you know, those little $1.05 and $1.10 purchases, they turn into $50 weeks of junk.
Right. Oh, perfect. Perfect point is I was just telling my buddy Joe, who stays with us for a few weeks every spring, and Acorns. Have you heard of acorns.com?
No.
It's acorns.com. And what that is you could link a credit card to this account. So if I use my credit card for whatever gas, and I spend $52.49, what Acorns does is it'll round you up to the nearest dollar.
Right.
So if it was $52.49, it'll take 51 cents and put it into an investment account for you.
That's pretty cool. That's like automatic savings.
Automatic savings. So it's a really great plan, and I think the expense, they charge like $1 a month. I mean, it's next to nothing, and you use Vanguard funds, and I already have $1,000 in there, and it's only been, I don't know, 6 months, 5 months.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So you actually use it yourself. Okay. Pretty cool. So hey, if you just joined us today, we're talking about 6 old-fashioned tips that maybe your grandmother used to help with savings that still work today. You know, our first tip was using the envelope budgeting system, where, you know, at the beginning of every week, you just set a couple of envelopes to the side. And this is not for your mortgage. This is not for your car note. This is for just those cost areas. If you don't manage, they can kind of get away from you. So we're talking, the first one is using the envelope budgeting system. And the second one was using cash only. The great thing about this system, Jim, is when this envelope has cash in it, and when it is empty, that means you can no longer spend any more money in this area.
Right.
To a card and make the purchase. This is groceries for the week.
Let me say something to that point.
Yes.
So that's such a good point, because that would help us, my family personally, a ton. Because
Right.
we'll go to Costco and we spend a ton of money at Costco, right?
Yes.
And we'll buy a bunch of stuff, and there's always food in the freezer. We have 2 freezers, and they're practically full. And Amy will go back to Costco and buy more food to put on top of the old stuff. So if we had a budget for that, it would make us eat the food that we really don't want to eat, and stop putting the good food on top of the stuff that's still in the freezer. Right? You know what I'm saying?
I do. So I count that as a win. You know, obviously we just got a win. You just bought into the envelope system, right?
Definitely, especially for groceries.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
'cause we don't need more food. We have food. There's plenty of food in the freezer. We just want food we like better, I suppose. So
Yeah. RT says you need to rotate that food. Rotate it.
of course we need to, for sure. Good job.
Or maybe you just need Mick to come over and help you guys out for a weekend. I mean, you know.
Are you hungry?
So hey, how about we move on to the next one? The next one is my favorite one.
Balance your checkbook. So 6 old-fashioned tips from Grandma.
We skipped number 3. We skipped number 3.
Oh, did we? Oh,
Yes.
freeze your credit card. Sorry.
Yes, that's my favorite one.
Really? Have you frozen your credit card lately?
I froze my wife's. Even better.
Nice.
No. I actually, in preparation for this, you know, I froze this. But the great thing about this is, look, we talk about impulse purchases, right? That's one of the biggest ways to blow up a budget. If you something comes, you're at home, something pops up on the internet, you don't have cash on you, you pull out the credit card. That's an impulse. But if you actually freeze this card, all right, and think about the time that it takes for it to unthaw and use it, well,
Right.
it makes you think about it and you avoid the impulse. Even better, like I said, when you freeze your wife's credit card.
Make her think about it. No, I do have to say, and a lot of people watching know Amy. She's great.
Yes.
As far as impulse buying, she doesn't do it. What
Right.
did she just say recently? She said, "Oh, I shouldn't even share that one." Sometimes she goes overboard on what she won't. I'm gonna share it. Should I share it? I can't see any writing from Facebook, so I don't know if she's telling me not to or not. But
Well, she has not said anything. She says she loves the props. She wants to make sure that we summarize at the end. But hey, you move forward at your own peril, my friend.
well, as far as saving money, she just told me this yesterday. I've never known this about her, but like if we're here at the office and she's got to use the restroom, but we're about to go to a restaurant for lunch, say we're going to lunch, instead of using the restroom here, I think
Do I hear in the background? I'm going to kill you, Jim.
Are they okay over there? Are you
Oh,
guys okay? I feel like they're being killed.
it's probably you that I'm more worried about. I think Tamara or Beth are probably holding her back to keep her from getting in there to kill you. But go ahead, please continue.
I better not. I'll never mind. Well, it's probably worse now. Everybody can just use their imagination. Right.
Yes, yes. Hey, by the way, if you like this video, Amy says, Jim, if you like this video, if you like the stuff that we're talking about, hey, share this video. Hey, maybe call a friend right now. Let them know that we're talking about some really, really good tips that you can use to save money, old school tips. Visit our page. But we'll keep it going, Jim.
Good. So 6 old-fashioned tips from Grandma that can help save you some money. Number 1 was use the envelope budgeting system. Mick had some great props for that. Great system. Go to cash only, and get rid of those credit cards. I'm a big fan of just getting rid of the credit cards altogether because most people are not disciplined enough to have a credit card.
You know what? That brings up something. There was a question that I received even before this call, and I want to get your response to this. So say you have an individual, they have credit card debt that they want to eliminate.
Yeah.
But they've also, accumulated savings. Say, we talk about accumulating 6 months of living expenses. Their concern is if they pay off the credit card debt,
right?
They've basically used up all of their liquid savings. How would you approach that? Did you hear that?
I'm sorry, Amy walked in. Hey, guess what? Next time you do a live, Amy, I'm going to distract the heck out of you.
All right, so I'll go it again. So unfortunately, there's no reset button on life, right? So a lot of the individuals that tune in to us, they already have credit card debt,
right?
So they want to get rid of that credit card debt. They've done a great job of building up savings. But they realize that in order to eliminate that credit card debt, it uses up a lot of their current savings. Now, my response to that is, hey, if you pay off the credit card, you're eliminating the high interest. And if you come into a bind or a pinch, you always can go back to that credit card. But you want to try to eliminate it because it's the interest payments that are really debilitating your ability to save long term.
Right. No, absolutely. If your credit card's charging you 20% and your savings isn't paying you anything, you don't want to take it down. Well, I suppose, that's debatable. I was going to say you don't want to take it down to nothing because then you may have to use the credit. But but if you already have the credit and you're getting charged anyway, it may be an opportunity to roll the dice and hope you don't need it.
Yeah.
Pay it off because that interest kills you. I don't want anybody to have credit card debt. It's awful. You know what? I was talking to that buddy Joe I was telling you about who's at the house. And he was telling me about a time where he had some fraud on the credit card last time he was in Florida. And he said, well, I just called the credit card. They wiped all the fraudulent stuff away. And I said, oh, that's, typically that's what they do. Yeah. And he made the point and said, well, that's why they charge that ridiculous interest. And I never thought of that. And that is probably why they charge 20%. Because they do take,
Okay.
They
Okay.
wipe out that fraud
Yeah.
when it happens.
Well,
So
good for them. I just don't want them to be building their reserve accounts on the backs of our clients, and definitely not on my back. So, but good job.
for sure. Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
so I guess I would. I think I would pay off that credit card debt, take your cash down, pay off the credit card debt, and then just start building up the credit again, or
Exactly.
build up the cash reserve.
The cash reserve. And if you have an emergency, again, you can always go back to that credit card. So yeah, so we're on the same page there. How about we jump to number 4?
Number 4, balance your checkbook. I remember my mom used to balance a checkbook every Saturday morning.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That it seems with the I guess the advent of a lot of the online banking, this is an oldie but a goodie. It's something that works so well that people just stop doing it. And
Right.
there are definitely some benefits that come out of balancing a checkbook, like you just mentioned, fraud. You know, your buddy Joe, looking at his I guess his credit card statement and knowing that he had some fraudulent charges on there.
Right.
Well, balancing a checkbook is another thing that can help you. Another way that you can identify if there's been any fraudulent activity on your account. A lot of times you might write a check. You have the I guess the copy in your checkbook. And I think there was one example of someone who was on vacation. They went to a restaurant, they paid for dinner, and they tipped, $6 or $7. But then when they went back in to balance their checkbook, they saw that the tip had actually been increased to $16 or $17.
Really?
And they would not have ever noticed it unless they had balanced their checkbook.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. And I was going to say, not only fraud, but just knowing where you stand in your balances. Because if you're in a situation where you don't carry very big balances, and if you bounce a check or you run it into the negative, you're going to get crazy service charges from the bank.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And
just knowing where you are balance-wise will help a ton.
Absolutely. Because a lot of times you have these, you write a check, like at my kids' school. I mean, they recently had a field trip, which we had written a check for some months ago. And we, it just turns out we were looking through and we realized that, hey, this check never cleared. And this was for, a couple of months ago. So imagine if we had, allowed our account to dwindle down to less than that. And this was a field trip. So, this is like $100 or a couple $100 for a field trip. I mean, then you start getting hit with the insufficient fund fees,
Right.
our additional costs. So balancing the checkbook and doing it frequently is a good practice, but it'll also help you stay on top of, possibly missing, getting hit with some NSF fees.
Good. Yeah. NSF fees. What are you, a banker in your past life? NSF fees.
No, but I play one on television.
You stayed at a Holiday Inn Express?
Right. So go ahead, Jim.
All right, so what we're talking about today, 6 old-fashioned tips from grandma that could save you some money. Number 1 was use the envelope budgeting system. Number 2 is go to cash only. Get rid of those credit cards. They're good for not much. People use those credit cards for the miles, and half the time you can't even use the miles. So I'm all for getting rid of the credit cards.
Freeze that card.
Yeah, freeze your credit card is number 3. Just physically freeze it. Yes. So that you have time to contemplate those impulse purchases. Number 4 is balance your checkbook. Lots of good reasons why you should do that. Number 5 is separate your bank accounts. Separate your bank accounts. So why don't you explain the thoughts on that?
Yeah. So I think the thought there is it's basically, you have your monthly expenses, which, basically occur every month. I mean, whether it's your mortgage, your car note, your utilities. So you use one account for that, and then maybe set a separate account to the side and say, okay, this is the fun account, right? This is the account when we want to go to the movies, we want to go to a restaurant. funds are set in the fund account. And when this account dwindles down, you don't use it anymore. You can also set a separate account for savings, whether it be short-term savings, say you're saving for a trip. I think a couple of weeks ago, Amy and we talked about naming accounts. You guys are going to be going on a cruise pretty soon. Let's name this account cruise, right? Or let's name this account whatever. Then you can also have a longer term account, which is basically savings, long-term savings, that account where you're going to put the 6 months of living expenses.
Right. Yeah, that is it's funny. It's not funny, but Wells Fargo, I think everyone would probably remember about a year ago, Wells Fargo got in a little bit of trouble for this exact situation. They were opening many accounts for families, and the families didn't realize it. And I'm not saying Wells Fargo is the only one that does it, but they were unfortunately the one that got in trouble for it.
Oh yeah.
So I struggle with this one a little bit because it's not necessarily necessary, really. Like you said, those envelopes do the same thing.
Yeah. And again, I mean, I'm glad you said that because I was getting ready to say that. I guess it's probably a more sophisticated version of the envelope system.
Right.
You know, and I agree. I mean, I don't think I'd recommend, having more than 3 accounts. I don't know if I'd recommend that. If
there's no service charges on the account, I guess it would be fine because it would be nice to be able to go online and see if you titled this one vacation and this one education, and if you wanted to label them, it would be nice to see them all on the bank account.
Yeah.
As long as there's no service charges, because those banks nowadays they charge for almost everything. So
absolutely. Yeah.
Something to consider. All right, and then the final tip from Grandma, old-fashioned tip, is learn to make things instead of buying them. And also not just learn to make things instead of buying, but also learn to fix stuff.
Mm-hmm.
For the younger people out there, use your parents as a resource to teach you. Because my dad, I love my dad, but when we were younger, he'd be like, we're working on whatever, and a lot of times he's just like, grab me the Phillips screwdriver and get me the socket wrench. And, I'm just running around getting stuff for him, and he did all the work. I didn't learn how to fix anything.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I tell you, that's one of the benefits that I did have as a kid is, my stepdad. I mean, he was a very handy person. I think maybe that's where I get it from. My wife and my kids, they give me a hard time whenever there's something going on around the house, and I'm running out into the garage to get my tool bag, and they're like, "Oh God, here goes Dad. He's gonna." He's getting ready to put this up or hang this or put this together. But I learned that as a kid. That's what my stepdad did. Yeah. So I feel like a lot of stuff I can do around the house myself. Maybe there are a few things that I should probably call in a specialist, but I'm still learning that.
Oh, that's good. But that'll save you a ton of money, especially, I know there's people all throughout the country watching, but especially in Florida, I feel like it's very difficult to find, like our gate. We have a gate across the front of our house, and it's been broken since the hurricane. We can't find anybody to fix it in the whole state of Florida.
Oh yeah, I agree. And I think another thing as far as learning to make things, I mean, the dining out, all right?
Oh man.
Yeah. Let's make dinner.
Yeah. Yeah, how much does it cost to make spaghetti?
Yeah.
$6 for ground beef, $2 for pasta, and $3 for a jar of sauce, and you're good. Or you can go to a restaurant and pay $15 each a plate.
Looks like we have, a comment here from a John Andrade. Looks like he wants us to show people how to make money. Says 76% of America is living paycheck to paycheck. Absolutely we can do that, but I'd say that's not the topic that we wanted to cover this week. John, we appreciate your comment. Maybe this is something that we can cover on our next call.
How to make money.
How to make money.
That's fun. We could do that. Let's do. Oh, next week. You're on your own next week.
Is that right? Okay.
I'm out of town.
Okay. Okay.
So,
yeah, so maybe we can. Hey, John, thanks for your comment. Hey, one thing that we did this week is on Tuesday, we put out requests to our audience and asked them to let us know what they wanted us to cover. And this is one of the topics that came back for this week. Again, we always want to be tapped into the public. We want to talk about the things that are important to them. And John, if this is something that is important to you, hey, we can definitely come back to this, or we can talk to you personally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So today, to wrap up today, we talked about 6 old-fashioned tips that we got from our grandma as far as making money. And number 1 was use the envelope system. Nick had great props for that. Number 2 was go to cash only, get rid of those credit cards.
Cash is king.
Number 3 was freeze your credit card, and not freeze it on the computer, but physically freeze it. Like, make sure you're great with your props today.
It's my wife's card.
Yeah, freeze the wife's card so she has time to think about what she's going to buy. It'll help eliminate those impulse purchases. Number 4 was balance your checkbook, not only for fraud, but also just to know where you are, so we could avoid service charges if you bounce your check. What'd you call it? NSF?
I think insufficient fund.
Insufficient fund. Yeah.
So in NSF, unfortunately, when I was younger, I got a chance to see some of that firsthand.
Okay. And number 5 was separate your bank accounts. And finally, number 6 was learn to make things or fix things instead of paying somebody or instead of buying them.
Oh, yeah.
So I had fun today. It was a good man show Friday.
Absolutely. Always is. I had fun as well. I think a good topic. Hey, if you like this video, share it. You can also add comments as you see this. We typically go back and look through the comment thread to see if there's any questions that may come out maybe later on in the week. So leave your comments. You can always send questions to info@novawealthmanagement.com as well.
That's great. Yep.
Yep.
Share us, like us on Facebook, Twitter, and we'll see you. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Mick will see you next Friday.
See you next Friday.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.